Good afternoon, everybody. It's lovely to see you all again. So, a very, very busy afternoon, a finale. Here we go. So, to begin with, I'd just like to say welcome. I really, really hope you've enjoyed yourselves. A lot of work is going on behind the scenes, and it's just lovely to see so many people innovating and conversing and getting excited about using tech in education. It really is a game changer. So welcome to everybody. Now, I would like to say a special welcome to Marla and Jess. You're going to hear a little bit about from in a moment. I'd also like to continue with prize giving. There is so much to give away. And so first of all, quizzes. I just want to remind you, there's going to be a T-shirt giveaway from somebody who comes up with a really, really funky comment. So a best comment of the day would be quite spectacular. Also, there is a super plan for quizzes, which is access to all premium features, which is truly incredible. And that's also going to be given away later today. And that's also from the best comment or question, either used within the social media element or put into the question bar at the bottom. I can see many of you are popping in now. Hi, it's great to see you guys. So before I get into that, I must also remind you that there are a few massive giveaways toward the end as well. So I'm going to give away two of them now. So the CoSpaces premium features, I demonstrated this yesterday in my presentation, where you'll have full premium access to everything, 2 licenses for 6 months each, and you've got 30 students you can have in each of these virtual realms, and the winners for this first one. So a huge congratulations to Carla Manzilla. Her comment on the virtual tour of her school. I had a very wonderful comment yesterday about how she's going to use it to visualize inventions on platforms, and they're going to invent solutions of the future in Chile, which is a fantastic way to do it, especially when you're looking at the current state, situation you're in and using tech to have a meaningful impact. The second winner of this fantastic prize is going to go to Ruth Silko from Lithuania. Is also going to win one of those premium giveaways. And I particularly liked about this one, Ruth, is where you said, "I really hope I win." One of the greatest quotes I've heard this conference. So very well done to you guys. Now, we're going to end this conference. We're going to end this conference with the final giveaway, which is going to be the 2 premium subscriptions to the GigSpace workshop, which I talked about yesterday. So again, you've got to really think about how you would use it innovatively, because I'm all about showing people what cool tools exist, but then trying to get teachers, being the subject specialists, to think creatively, how would you use these? How would you use GigSpace workshop in an innovative way within your lesson and your lessons and within your school setting? So think about that, and I would like you to continue using the hashtag Schoolscape Live hashtag, and I'm really quite keen to see what you guys come up with, and I'll be looking at those throughout the afternoon. So I think without further ado, first of all, well done to the winners so far. Keep going, and I'll hand over to Peter to continue.
Awesome, thank you. Sorry, as I realized I was showing you the wrong tweet up there. I was showing you from Caroline instead of Carla Manzilla, who won the CoSpaces. Yes, so Carla said she wants to create a tour for her disabled children to be able to see the schools, which is absolutely incredible. So she's going to win one of those CoSpaces prizes, and we'll send all the winners prizes afterwards. But now what I would like to do is I would like to invite Wesley from Snaplify up on stage. So part of the reason we can have this event and we can do it for free for people from around the world, because I see we've got Lithuania, Ecuador, we've got all over the place coming in, is because of generous sponsors. So one of the fastest growing edtech businesses out there at the moment is Snaplify, and we've really, when they wanted to come on board, we were so excited because of the amazing work they did. So Wesley, it is fantastic to have you on stage. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us, and always a pleasure to support you guys. I think you're doing an amazing job. So well done on the event, and happy to be here.
Thanks. So Wesley, big question. How does Snapify support schools?
Ultimately, we provide different kinds of technology to help teachers in the classroom, help students work at home, but a lot of it's around access to digital content and the different kinds of way in which digital content might be used. So front of classroom solutions for interactive content, perhaps digital textbooks that learners would use at home, study guides. We also have a teacher marketplace where teachers can download digital content and print it out, everything from flashcards to quizzes. So it's really about how do we take technology and weave that through the different components of the education system to try and help things maybe be a little bit easier.
Okay, so Wesley, just to help our audience understand, if you had to describe what Snapify is very simply, how would you do it?
It's unfortunately a different kind of animal to different people, but really it's an edtech business that is helping the education system do more and do better with technology. Okay. I mean, that would be I suppose, our value proposition. The how is maybe a little bit more complicated.
Okay, so on the how, maybe if you could explain, I know one of the systems that you have is a library system, and I know it's been quite exciting kind of feedback on it. How does your library system work, and how could a school test it?
Sure, yeah. So library is definitely the most popular and the first stepping stone for most schools. So really, it's the digital equivalent of a physical school library. I think if we went to schools when we were kids, most of us should be familiar with it. Obviously now, schools are really challenged with having a physical library, and even with lockdown and some of the changes, maybe learners don't have access to the library. So it provides an online equivalent where learners can essentially loan books, and those could be for leisure reading. It could be set works. It could also be past exam papers, research. So any sort of media or content that you would traditionally get from a library, they can then check out from a safe environment now curated by the school and managed by the librarian. And all of that is then read on their devices and can be accessible offline from home.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, I'm a school, I get all of my kids to download an app, and then instead of having a physical library where I have books, I can now have, say, 4 virtual copies of Romeo and Juliet. And I literally can lend those out to people one at a time. Am I understanding correctly?
Absolutely. So it works exactly the same as a library. So you'll get your own library that's set up for your school, and you can control how much or how little you want in there. And literally, it's hundreds of thousands of different titles. Obviously, there's some for free, some are paid for, and then learners can browse through that either using collections or searching, find the content that they are after, and then they can loan those books out and enjoy them at their leisure. Okay,
so if I'm a school, what would my kind of next step be? And I know I've got a screen here with a bit of info, but what would my my next step be?
Sure. So if you go to the website and you can follow the prompts to really go and register essentially your library. So you can see there from engage.snapify.com. And it's absolutely free, so we encourage everyone to go and try it out. We love getting feedback, and it's always great to see perhaps what are the different features or content requirements from different regions. There's a large amount of free content in there, so you can enjoy the platform for free and access all the free content. And if there's any questions, either technically or about the content, then we've got guys on board with the live chat that can answer any questions you may have.
Brilliant. And Wesley, would I be correct in saying that anywhere in the world, anyone can download this?
Yeah, anywhere in the world. We're open for business basically anywhere. We've seen a massive surge in registrations from all over the world, particularly during the lockdown period. So there's no restrictions. Obviously, we have a bias towards English content. So that's definitely a focus for us. But by all means, please register, and we'd love to get your feedback.
Brilliant. We'll post also in the chat bar just a link where people can sign up. Wesley, thank you. I think you've been incredibly generous to help make today happen and help make this event happen. And I know your tool is literally being used by schools around the world. Roughly, do you know how many schools are actually using your product around the world? Any rough idea?
I think we're signing about, the height of lockdown, about 700 a day. So it really is.
A day.
A day, yeah. So that was like the extreme craziness of it, and we were doing between 4,000 and 7,000 live chats a day. So I've got an idea of like how many have registered, but obviously there's a lot of guys testing the waters, and I think a lot of those numbers are I suppose more of a vanity metric than anything else. But we've definitely seen a massive surge of late.
Brilliant. So Snapify, thank you. I really encourage the schools to go check it out. It's free to use. You can play and see if it's of value. Wesley, thank you so much.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Anthony.
Anthony, I'm going to invite you back on stage just to intro our first speaker for today. And while he's doing that, Marla, if you would like to come on stage.
Hello. All right then. So it gives me a great pleasure to actually introduce a very good friend of mine as well, Marla Naidoo from South Africa, and we used to work together a while ago, and so it's wonderful that we actually get to come to these conferences together, and just with the use of technology. So Marla has 28 years of teaching experience in the fields of mathematics, computer science, and robotics. And for robotics, you can take it from me, she's an absolute wizard. And she's pioneered robotics clubs and initiatives across 4 schools. She has a master's degree in information systems, and is registered for her PhD, which is this. So this lady knows what she's talking about. And she was awarded a scholarship by Technovation, a global company that strives to promote STEM and technology amongst the girls throughout a mobile app development competition. And she actually ran a mobile app development think tank, I suppose, in the school that we both worked at. And this is just the beginning for this legend. So enjoy.
Brilliant. Marla, you have 20 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks, Anthony. All right, I just want to share my screen quickly. And oops. All right. Please let me know if you could see the presentation, Ant.
We've got it perfectly.
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Marla Naidoo. I am an educator at Rallim in Cape Town, South Africa. I've seen we have lots of people from around the world, including South Africa. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoy this session. I'm really excited to be presenting today. Thank you to Schoolscape for this opportunity, and I'm really happy to share my ideas with you. I have to tell you, as a child, I always loved mysteries and puzzles, solving cryptic problems, and even now find the prospect of escape rooms quite daunting. So what better way to teach coding than to bring in cryptography, which involves encoding messages for someone else to decode. Sorry, I'm just gonna, okay, sorry, this is the right slide. So in my discussion today, I would like to stretch your imagination and request that you explore with me cryptography and its potential within the world of mathematics and robotics. To start off, these are the 4 key questions I'd like to talk about. So firstly, why was it an excellent idea to integrate maths, robotics, and coding into our exploration of cryptography? What did students achieve in my lesson? And how did I integrate these subjects? And lastly, what technology was used? But before I delve into each question with you, Let me give you some context by sharing the project missions with you. Right, so basically, I had 2 project missions which were set up, with each one having multiple challenges and many fun tasks to complete. Both projects involved top secret missions where Agent X needed to direct Agent Z on where the secret item was hidden each time. This had to be done in such a way that the message could not be intercepted by the wrong person. Both projects presented the opportunity to flip the classroom. Students were involved with solving puzzles and codes based on techniques of encryption that they had learnt about in videos and links from websites that I provided them with. Their responses were journaled through voice notes and voice recordings of their collaborative answers and code test runs. There was an immense amount of learning taking place whilst they were engaging and solving problems. So why was it an excellent idea to integrate maths, robotics, and coding into our exploration of cryptography? So firstly, the topic cryptography provided ample opportunity for creativity and integration with many possibilities and scenarios, and most importantly, the opportunity to have fun. It's been my belief that when students are engaged and having fun, they learn. It was fun for students because they had an exciting topic that involved a spy mission with agents trying to send messages secretly to each other. I mean, a spy mission, who wouldn't be interested in something like that? That's exciting. So learning also became more relevant with this integration, and it wasn't compartmentalized. So I found that the scenario made it relevant, and since it was dealing with a real world situation. So many spheres in our lives these days require security and cryptography, ranging from banking, whether you realize it or not, emails, browsing the web, digital commerce, and digital cash, to name a few. The other reason is creating examples within a scenario gives students a context to learn mathematics. It allowed them to visualize how maths fits into real life, and I think that's important. More important than just learning from a textbook. And lastly, it allowed for integration with holistic learning. So holistic learning basically completely involved invoking their minds, logic, opening up their imagination, and actually experiencing this as if they were the spies. What did students achieve in the lesson? It allowed them to improve on skills, knowledge, and values. I found that because they had to work as a team, they learned how to collaborate. They learned to be patient and tolerant with each other. They shared tasks. They shared expertise with one another. In terms of research, they had to research cryptography and how it happened in the past.
All right, seems we have lost Marla. Always the challenge of doing something live. We're just going to try and give her one more second to jump on while we are waiting. I'm just going to, there, she lost her internet connection. While she's waiting, I'm just going to jump Anthony back on stage, and I'd like to check if our next speaker is on stage as well. So our apologies. It's always when you're doing something live that the live gremlins kind of catch in. I'm just going to quickly check actually if our next speaker is available. Give me 1 second, because then we can just bring her on and then we can continue with Jess is not live. Anthony, are you there? All right, so I'm just inviting Anthony on stage. Cool. All right, Anthony, we've lost Marla. We're going to wait for her to come back, but I thought I would engage you because you are an expert all things education. So, Anthony, have you ever used robotics in your classrooms?
Yes, all thanks to Marla, actually. Ah, she's back. That was good
All
timing.
right. Cool. Well,
All right.
You saved us having to listen to Anthony. Marla, we're going to hand straight back to you.
So sorry about that. I actually hadn't realized that I'd left, and I carried on sharing the presentation with myself. So that is cool.
Cool.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I'm just going to refresh this page. It seems like there's a problem with the connection.
No problems. While she's doing that, quick question to everyone who's live. Who of you have used cryptography, robotics, or coding in your classroom? Please just share in the chat bar what you have done. And then, Anthony, while we're waiting for Marla, how have you used robotics or coding or cryptography in your classes?
I'd like to say that I've used it as brilliantly. Well, I wish I could use it as brilliantly as Marla, but she is the master. But I've used. I don't know if any of you have come across Sphero robots. These are really, really, really cool little devices, and they actually help you learn how to code. So Roxanne is saying you have one. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so they work really, really well at sort of getting somebody started in using robotics, because it's the size of a tennis ball, and it's got a really nice little modem within it, and you can code it to do various things. So like play music, orientate a classroom. They can even travel through water. So if you're keen to get started with a large, not terribly expensive robot, Sphero would be the way to start. And I can see Marla's back, so I'll leave you with that thought.
Marla, are you ready to keep presenting?
Yes. Obviously, the internet's not working with me, but I'm going to try again. All right. So how did I integrate these subjects? I hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
So basically for maths, we looked at prime numbers and composite numbers because it's involved in the RSA encryption scheme. We looked at the definition, examples, problem solving. Shifting techniques are key. So addition, operation, and variables came into play here. With the EV3, maneuvering it involved turning and angle manipulation. So that was learned and enhanced, those skills. And with EV3 and Sphero coding, there was a lot to be done by way of using these mechanisms to actually code challenges that were coming ahead. Right, so I'm going to quickly just explain the process to you. In terms of the project, one of the projects that I had given them to do it was Agent X had a mission to hide an artifact in the Rallim school building. And they needed to use cryptography to let Agent Z know where the artifact was hidden without being intercepted. So 2 challenges were created in the project. Students had to learn about the 2 methods, ciphertext and Morse code, and how to use it. And then they had to actually code the EV3 as well as the Sphero bolt to complete the challenge. All right, so if we look at the steps that were involved, students had to first create a ciphertext wheel. They did that through cutting 2 circles with different radii out of colored cardboard and placing the smaller one on top of the larger one with the paperclip in between to hold it in place. They needed to decide what the plain text message was, and then they had to shift the inner circle forwards and backwards to actually encode the message. Then the message needed to be sent through. So I'll quickly explain that to you. So assume the plain text message is as follows. Let's assume that Agent X hid the artifact that they were looking for under the staircase. If you're using a ciphertext shift right by 3, then it means that A would stand for D, B would stand for E, C would stand for F, and so on. So using that technique, the ciphertext message would eventually be XQGHU, something ridiculous like that. But it worked because it allowed Agent X to actually secretly hide the message. And of course, the word there would be WKH. So just something for you to think about and try out. If you have the time, if we're looking at staircase and you had to use a shift by 3 forward, what do you think the answer would be? I'm going to leave that for you to try out and continue with this presentation. And we'll look at the answer later at the end. All right, so how is the message sent? If you look at the picture, I had laid out the letters of the alphabet into panels where 2 students shared a panel, and they had to drive the Sphero over each letter. The moment it arrived on a letter, so for example, the X, it had to pause and blink. Students then programmed the Sphero to move over the encoded letters. And once the Sphero completed the movement of all of the letters, the video was created. And thus, that was sent through to Agent Z. All right, so if you look to the left on the wall, there is an example of the code that's used for Sphero Edu, a very exciting app to use. But how would Agent Z decode the message? So Agent Z needed to watch the video firstly, make a note of the letters that the Sphero paused at, decrypt by shifting backwards in the opposite direction, and then if this was interpreted correctly, then Agent Z figured out what the message was. So here's an attempt of moving the Sphero over the letters. All right, so I'm just going to pause that at that point. So moving on to the next challenge they had was to now use Morse code and familiarize themselves with that. With Morse code, there's an international Morse code template where every letter is represented by dots and dashes. So for example, under, if you look at the word, the letter U is represented by 2 dots and a dash. The N is represented by a dash and a dot. And literally what the kids had to do was substitute the letters with those dots and dashes. So they needed to figure out what the plain text message is, in this case, under the staircase. They had to use the Morse code template with dots and dashes to create the encoded message. They needed to substitute the dots and dashes allocated to each letter and then code the robot to transmit the Morse code. So here's an example. Under the staircase would look like this, basically. The U, you have a letter, a double slash that shows the separation between the two, and all of the letters going on. So then creating the code would be as follows. An example of the code below on the wall, you'll see the EV3, the sound block was used to actually show whether it was a short or long sound. Short represented that it was a dot, and a dash was a bit longer. What would Agent Z need to do to decode the message? He or she would firstly need to watch the video, listen for the sounds, make note of whether it's a long or short sound that was heard, map the dots and dashes to the corresponding letter, and if interpreted letter, Agent Z then figured out where the artifact was hidden. So here's a clip, just short clip of what it sounds like. And clearly, to us, it may just sound like short and long sounds, but it was totally exciting because they were able to transform this whole experience using robotics. Technology that was used, we used the EV3 Mindstorms robot with the iPad and the Mindstorm software. We used the Sphero Bolt with the EduSphero app, and that was really, really cool. And Code.org has a really exciting platform to use where we were able to map the code and actually transit between the letters, either shifting 3, 5, or whatever the case may be. In conclusion, after watching the presentations yesterday, I thought of so many different ways in which I could add to the way I did this lesson. I would definitely have included VR as part of the SPY mission experience. Bringing in MergeCube and quizzes into the picture would have added lots of fun as well. The possibilities are endless, so make every opportunity to create the fun and wow experience. Thank you. All right, any questions? Sorry about that rushed presentation, but I cannot explain to you enough the fun we had. It was a good, I think, 1.5 months of lessons, but every single lesson captured exactly what I wanted it to, and the kids were engaged beyond belief. So just seeing something like that was totally, totally awesome.
Well, I think what is absolutely incredible is you've managed to combine, I think someone said it earlier, gamification, robotics, kind of searching stuff, real life skills, it's absolutely incredible what you've done. So I think a big well done. Just for interest, Marla, if you had to do this online, if anyone is teaching kids from a remote, is there a way you could think of doing some of the stuff or distance learning?
Absolutely. This is something I am extremely passionate about. Everybody who knows me knows that. And to share to other people, with other people, would be my absolute pleasure.
Cool.
I'd absolutely love that. So if anybody wants to hook up with me and you want a little bit of training, I've had a lot of experience, 28 years with mathematics, less with robotics, but halfway there. And I've had awesome times with robotics teams, coaching and all of that. So absolutely amazing. Yes, just
Awesome.
email me, whatever, and I'm happy to help you.
All
yes,
right.
yes, Ant.
Marla, we had a question here. Michelle says, Lego rocks, we do use it well. However, any alternative tech you would suggest which can be used instead of Lego EV3? So what kind of tech would you recommend? Or what are the options out there?
Okay, in terms of other robotics, is that what you're referring to? Okay,
Yes.
I have to be very honest. I have come across other types of robotics besides the Sphero Edu, besides the Sphero Bolt and the EV3 and the WeDo. I've always had so much fun with that, so I basically stuck with that, and that's what I taught to my kids. But there are other platforms out there involving Arduino kits and Raspberry Pi, where you can build your own little robotics kits, and that can be a little bit cheaper. But I'd have to say, I'd have to check up on it. I wouldn't be able to tell you offhand. Yes, but Lego is awesome. Why not?
Brilliant, love it. All right, Marla, sadly our time is up, but I think well done for pushing the boundaries of, it's just incredible seeing a teacher that is passionate. My little kid inside of me just goes, I wish you were my teacher. I wish I could have done this stuff as a kid. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for pushing those boundaries. I think there's a lot that we can learn from you. So we appreciate your time.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for including me. This was awesome. Thanks, Anne.
Great. Ciao.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, Marla.
Bye.
Brilliant. I'm now going to introduce and invite Jess Riccò on stage. Just a reminder, Marla at the end mentioned Merge Edu. So please don't forget, Merge is actually offering the opportunity where you could win a license for your whole class with 25 Merge cubes. So we'll post that link now. And then brilliant, on stage with me now is Jessica. So I'm really excited with this, more on the VR and how to implement it. Jessica has 6 years of experience in ICT integration. So this is her sweet spot. And she is coming to us live from Italy, which is quite exciting. I know we've got people around the world. So Jess, I'm going to hand over to you, and you have just over 30 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm very, very excited for this event. It's my very first event that I am hosting. So thank you for joining us, and a huge thank you to Schoolscape for having me here. Hopefully I can leave you with something that you can implement into your classroom at the end. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. Find it.
Jess, while you are doing that, I've just shared a poll that says, what is your experience level of using VR? Beginning, developing, using, expert. So that is on the right of your on the right of your screen in the polls tab. Sorry, Jess, I'm going to duck off. Over to you. Your presentation is showing perfectly.
Thank you so much. Yes, I would love to know what your experience is at the moment using virtual reality in education, just to get a sense of where we are, and to find out possibly if any of these ideas would be able to help you. So a little bit about me. As I'm sure you can tell by my accent, I am actually from South Africa, in a tiny little town just outside Cape Town called Hermanus. Grew up there my whole life. And I currently now live in the beautiful Lago di Como in Italy. It's such a beautiful town. I absolutely love it. And yeah, if you can, definitely come visit. In terms of teaching, I've got 7 years teaching experience and 6 years in particular in ICT. I absolutely love technology. I love learning new technologies. I love finding ways that we can implement technology within the teaching and learning process. Okay, so let's have a little look at what we're going to be going through today. The first question I would like to share or inquire into is why you should use virtual reality within the classroom. Then, how do I personally implement virtual reality into my classroom? And how you could use virtual reality to enhance the teaching and learning, even in virtual classrooms because of the pandemic. So, there are 2 umbrella reasons as to why you should use virtual reality in the classroom. The very first reason is looking at how we can develop our 21st century skills in our learners' approach to learning. If we think about virtual reality, the skills that I believe that we develop is problem solving, coding, creative thinking, and reflection. The second reason would be that of learner engagement. So I'd like to unpack these 2 areas in a little bit more detail. Skills development. Looking at creative thinking, this is a skill that is developed throughout the entire process, not only in their prototyping, as you can see, but also throughout the whole virtual reality creation. Learners have to think creatively in order to create their environment. Unfortunately, there are only set amount of assets provided to the learner in the program that we use. So for example, when we use CoSpaces, there are no roads within CoSpaces. However, learners are able to create roads by using panels and changing the color and texture of those panels. The second is that of problem solving. Learners are solving a real-world problem that is provided to them. Furthermore, they are expected to problem solve when coding their design. Learners come to understand the importance of logical and critical thinking when creating their environment. They realize that a set of instructions take place one after another through code. However, at times, they would maybe like to group events together in order for things to happen simultaneously. Learners have to reflect on this, think critically, and problem solve in order for these events to run parallel. Reflection. Learners constantly reflect throughout the unit. They have to look at their design and then think about how they can improve their language and code. This is done consistently throughout the process through trial and error. They work towards making their virtual realities as realistic as possible. And lastly, coding. Code is when the learners transform steps in a task into a language that is understood by a computer. Learners begin to learn the basics of code by creating movements for their animations. So let's move on now to learner engagement. I would like to start off with a quote by one of my grade 8 learners. She said, "My brother said to me to enjoy every moment because this is the best unit I have ever done." Now, for me as a teacher coming into my class, starting my first unit, having that feedback made me so happy. A big part of learner engagement is how you personally as a teacher engage and respond to the unit. And if you love the unit, ultimately that will feed into the learners as well. However, there's much more to the unit that creates a strong sense of engagement. Firstly, the learners are instantly attracted and have a favorable attitude towards the unit. Why? It's about virtual reality. Second, I find this method attracts all learners, especially those who learn visually. And in my opinion, that's most of the learners anyway. I believe that this is what makes the unit appealing to all. I begin our unit introduction by asking learners what they would prefer. Would it be reading a textbook, watching a video, or experiencing learning through a virtual reality? They all choose the latter. It's almost a trick. They are learning all these incredible 21st century skills without knowing that they are learning. To them, it sounds like something fun that they would be doing outside of the classroom. So getting them to do it in school is just an absolute massive bonus. They are already interested in it, so we don't need to remind them to remain focused on their work. Therefore, virtual reality is more helpful for all the learners. They go beyond about reading into knowledge and concepts. They just think about how chalk and talk method might be becoming a thing of the past. Virtual reality is definitely a step into the future. It breathes fresh life into the more laborious topics. They are learning these skills in the way they learn best, visually. So if we think about it, we are therefore changing the way our students interact with the subject content. They are becoming proactive participants in their own learning. I would like to share a report by Veronica Pantelidis. She shares, virtual reality provides new forms and methods of visualization, drawing on the strengths of visual representations. It provides an alternative method for presentation of material. In some instances, virtual reality can more accurately illustrate some features, processes, and so forth than by other means, allowing extreme close-up examination of objects, observation from a great distance, and observation of areas and events that are unavailable by other means. So looking at how I implement virtual reality into my classroom. At ISC, we are an IB school, so we're always looking to solve a problem. I personally teach design, and design is all about problem solving. So the problem posed to learners was this. There are no virtual realities that are used as an innovative historical resource at ISC. I would suggest creating a problem and allowing the learners to decide how to solve it. When the learners have the opportunity to choose their own inquiry, they tend to be more enthusiastic in their learning. We as educators simply guide the process from there. So in my design class, we go through the following process. We research and inquire into the problem, we develop our ideas, we design the product, and then we reflect and evaluate. So the first phase, our research phase. They have to really come to grips with the problem and find a way we can solve the problem. At the top right-hand corner of my screen, you will see a table, and that's where the learners first begin. They need to think about what research that they need to complete. This is done by creating their very own inquiry questions, such as, how do I use CoSpaces? How do I think the Twin Towers looked in and outside? Possibly, what happened on the day? They then start to unpack this research by completing it. So some ways they could do this is looking at tutorials through YouTube, perhaps analyzing certain images, or getting more information on the event through the internet. We then go to the development of our ideas. And this is really where they start understanding how they are going to create their product, how their idea is going to come to life. So they start by doodling their ideas. They think about what the environment should look like and what should be included. From here, where they then start to think about how this is going to start becoming a virtual reality. So thinking about creating a type of storyboard, going from the beginning point to the end point. From there, they think of a more accurate plan, where they divide their virtual reality into scenes. If you do want to feel old, do you know that not a single kid that we teach now was alive when the Twin Towers happened? It makes me definitely feel quite a bit old. We then get to the design process. This is now when the learners actually start to create their design and see their ideas in action. So they need to start thinking about coding, animating, and getting their events to look as realistic as possible. The great thing about CoSpaces is that it integrates with Tinkercad. So even if they do not have a particular object or set of assets that they might need for their virtual reality, they can actually look for it and import it into CoSpaces from Tinkercad. This is my favorite part of the process, as I am sure it is all my learners as well. But what makes it meaningful for me is the fact that the learners have to reflect on the skills that they are currently developing. So are they developing their coding skills, and how? What did they actually learn? And within each lesson, they have to reflect on it. I thought I'd share a couple of other virtual realities that some of my learners made. You can see that we have the first man on the moon, we had the explosion of Pompeii, and then the devastating attack on Hiroshima. I would like to share an example in action of what a final virtual reality could look like. I hope that it's not too glitchy through the screen share, but in general, it would be absolutely seamless. What is fantastic about this is that this particular project is on Christopher Columbus. This project is meaningful to the learner because it relates to their historical background and cultural roots here in Italy, something that they are interested in, once again, being a proactive participant in their own learning. This recording is unfortunately a screen recording. However, when using the CoSpaces app on your phone, it automatically generates it into a virtual reality that you can then view through the virtual reality goggles. Over here, you are able to see certain assets moving. These assets are moving all through learner code. It's not as easy as it may seem to have these particular objects running at the same time, as I've previously shared. It is quite difficult to problem solve and be able to get those objects to run at the same time. We are now moving to the final scene of the virtual reality. And this is where Christopher Columbus finally makes it to land. So, the last phase of our design cycle is that of reflection and evaluating. This is possibly the most valuable phase for the learners. The reason behind this is because the learners need to actually reflect on their product and determine whether or not their product was successful. How this can happen is by actually sharing their virtual reality with students as well as teachers, possibly even the teachers that are part of the humanities department, and finding out whether or not they would use this resource in the classroom. Now, I've added a very, very important quote at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. This quote literally confirms what this unit is about. It is the essence of what we are trying to achieve as teachers. His quote is as follows: "Innovative designs such as virtual reality allow us to communicate a particular space and time to our audience because they show information virtually and in a more interesting, creative, and immersive way." They are linking their idea to their global context. They are thinking about how their idea is able to relate to the real world. So let's look at how you could use virtual reality to enhance teaching and learning. You can do this both in presence at school and virtually. And I personally would highly recommend using virtual reality to engage the learners in a virtual setting. To the left, I have provided a list of software or applications that you can use to bring virtual reality into your classroom. The first is that of CoSpaces. This is the app that I am using currently in the classroom. It is an online application where learners can create their very own virtual realities. And the coding language is similar to Scratch. Very easy for the learners to learn. Google Expeditions. This is a great source for both a hybrid and virtual setting. I've linked the sheets to the slide that provides you with all the available expedition options. So just to show you, here you can see the name of the expedition, as well as a description of it, as well as the links. You can find almost anything in the list of available expeditions. Just imagine that you could take learners to a particular museum, or possibly go visit the Aztec ruins, or even better, go canoeing down the Orange River. If we cannot travel to these magnificent places, why not bring it to our learners? There's also the option of using Google Tour Creator. This allows our learners to create their very own virtual reality tour through Google Street View. There's also the option, provided that learners have the correct equipment, to create their own 360-degree images. As Google says, explore the world from a totally new perspective, which allows our learners to be able to get into any of the streets in any city or town. Finally, YouTube. In YouTube, you are able to search for many virtual reality videos. Just type in the topic, followed by VR. If you have a look on your phone and you are viewing the video, in the bottom right-hand corner, there will be a set of virtual reality glasses. All you need to do is simply click on those glasses and your phone becomes a virtual reality. Pop them into the headset and you and your learners can experience a whole new world. So how can you use virtual reality to enhance your teaching and learning? Get learners to create a simulation as part of their learning, or possibly share models of environments to engage learners with a particular topic, or use interactive models to engage the learners within your particular subject. So I'd like to share some subject-specific uses with regards to virtual reality. In history, you could take learners back to a particular event. This will help the learners to remember dates, battles, and times. Why not get the learners to create their own events just as I have done with my learners. In geography, you could take the learners to a region or country and possibly view and analyze natural disasters. Let's take our learners on an archaeological dig for the dinosaur skeletons. Why not? We've got this at our disposal. In science, we could even take learners on an inward journey to learn more about our bodily functions. In languages and the arts, learners are able to explore museums, novels, or a significant period in time. Just imagine that we can take our learners to the Blackfriars Theatre where Shakespeare performed, or alternatively, get the learners to create their own scene from a Shakespeare novel. So, in conclusion, what have we learned? Ultimately, virtual reality is just awesome. It really, really engages the learners. When implemented correctly, virtual reality can provide opportunity for learners to make discoveries that were previously unknown to the classroom. The pandemic itself has provided us with many challenges, but virtual reality could be a solution to many of them. I have found using this method has the capability to reach out and grab our learners both at home and in the classroom. Hopefully, this has given you some new tools to empower you in the new age of education. So I'd like to ask if there are any questions at this stage. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so I can have a look.
While you're looking for questions, we had so many comments. I honestly think we're going to cut that and send it around the world. That was brilliant. Super practical and very, very easy. Jess, I'm going to just ask one question. If anyone's got any questions, please pop them in. If I was starting for the first time and I wanted to incorporate what you were talking about, what would you recommend as the first step?
The first step would definitely choose the right application. For me personally, that's CoSpaces, but I suppose it depends on what it is that you want the learners to do in the classroom. And then ultimately, get your hands on a set of Google Cardboards. They're very cheap, very fantastic. Well, it is a fantastic piece of equipment. The learners love it, and they just honestly run with it. You are just there to facilitate it.
Brilliant. Jess, a question came in from Roxanne. What support is there for students for CoSpaces? How long does it take?
So in terms of support, CoSpaces have got a lot of video tutorials that is available through YouTube. It is, if you're doing it for the first time, I would just be honest with the learners and just say, you are coding for the first time, we're learning this together. I do that with the kids. They teach me a few things, I teach them a few things, and we're all learning together, which is fantastic. In terms of how long it takes, I think that depends on what you want out of the particular topic. So my design cycle is quite a process, and that can take anywhere between 4 to 5 months to complete, seeing the learners twice a week. However, if you are just wanting to dive straight into the design as an English teacher for particular marks, you could give them 2 weeks to be able to create a particular lesson or particular topic.
Brilliant. Just while we're looking for more questions, if you have used CoSpaces, give us a thumbs up. I'll just be interested to see how many thumbs up. So in your chat bar, there's a little emoji on the right, and you can give us thumbs up there. I'd love to know how many people have actually used it. There we go. Phil is actually going to be presenting in the Lines Den pitch on CoSpaces shortly, so he'll be able to give more information. So that's pretty exciting. And he will also be giving away another free license agreement. So we've actually been giving a couple of kind of license agreements away for a year, which is great. Wow, lots of people have used it. And then question came in, if someone wants to pick up the Google Cardboard, is that easy? Where do you get hold of those?
Yes, you can grab, well, I grab mine off Amazon. It's the quickest and easiest way, especially now at the moment in the pandemic. Here in Italy, I never know what zone I'm going to be in the next week. So I just get Amazon to deliver to me.
Brilliant. And Jess, for this, am I correct in saying this is actually something great to do with kids that are stuck at home at the moment? You know, this doesn't need kids to be in the classroom. Am I correct in saying that?
That's all. Honestly, the kids just get so sucked into it and they get so excited to join your virtual class or your hybrid class, and they just honestly get on with it. They make their own design, they get excited, they learn about coding, they get to see instant results in action as well.
Brilliant. All right. I think that is absolutely amazing. Jessica, once again, I said it to Marla, I think I'll say it to you. I wish I was a kid again and you were my teacher. We just did not have any of this kind of stuff when we were kids, and I think it's absolutely incredible. Jess, besides VR, and this is going to be your last question, what would be your favorite ed tech tip for a teacher out there, outside of VR?
Outside of VR, ed tech. I might be a little bit lame, or maybe not lame, but this is my personal opinion, is just never stop learning, because technology is always changing, and don't be afraid, be a risk taker, just jump straight in and learn. And if you don't know, don't worry, because to be honest, the kids are always one step ahead. So just find out from them, learn alongside with them, and just have fun.
Brilliant. Jess, you have been absolutely incredible. I think, honestly, hands down, fantastic presentation. So thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. And I think it's gonna, if Anthony's there and he can jump back on stage, I just want to ask him one other question. But Jess, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening, morning, wherever you are in the world.
Literally, we have morning, evening, we have all over the place. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jess. Anthony, I know we're going to be giving away some CoSpaces license agreements, and I know it's a VR tool. What is CoSpace, and why would someone with an Apple device want to know about it?
Well, CoSpace is an incredibly powerful tool, much like many of the things that we've covered in this conference. But CoSpace can allow you, if you saw the presentation yesterday I did on a number of the different features you can do, you can understand the makeup of anything using augmented reality. So Jess was just chatting about virtual reality, where you go into the digital world, whereas augmented reality brings the digital world into the real world. And Apple have got a really keen interest in this at the moment because of its usability and its accessibility for humanity, really. And in terms of CoSpace, you can not only view the myriad of jigs that are already available there that can apply to science, biology, physics, everything, even mechanics, and it's incredible. And not only because you can make students discover it. I mean, you have, I think guests here have probably noticed a trend. Everything that we're sharing is changing the pedagogy, the teaching element. So instead of getting us at the front telling the students, it's all student-centered, and CoSpace is incredible for that, because the students discover their own learning and they discover what makes something work. And in terms of Jig Workshop, this is like the additional upgrade from CoSpace. This allows teachers and students to create their own augmented reality, either assets or linear timeframes, or it's incredible. It really is incredible. And I'm a huge augmented reality fan, so I think everybody should invest in it, not just students.
Brilliant, and thank you so much. For those, Jake very kindly gave us a flyer, which I've just posted. There's a link there if you want to check a bit more about Jig workshops and what Ant was chatting about. But thank you so much. And I am going to drop you off because it's time now to have a little bit of fun. So what we are going to be doing now is we're going to be doing the Lions Den pitch. We found what we think is 3 incredible companies that have incredible tools that we think could be of value for you no matter where in the world you are. So the aim with the Lions Den, each company has 7 minutes, and in that 7 minutes, they need to wow you and win you over. And right at the end, we are then going to do a poll on who you think your favorite one is. So the company gets bragging rights, and if you enter that poll, you will actually win a prize. So I'll mention more of that. So each company has 7 minutes, and first up we have Sleuth IT. So I'm going to invite Joe, and I think this is super relevant, especially as we've just come out of a whole chat on AR, VR. So I think the timing is perfect. So Joe, you first up on the lines then. You have 7 minutes to win the audience. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Let's just see if we can get this whole screen sharing thing happening. Thank you for the invitation, by the way. Oh, we had this before, didn't we? Can you see that now?
Yep, you just need to go press play, present mode.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Great to see so many.
You are showing your, I'll press pause on the time. You're showing the wrong side. You've got the slide and next slide.
I'm gonna do it this way because it's not sharing my screen very successfully. Hopefully you can see this, folks.
Yeah, we can see it clearly.
Okay. So here's a 60 seconds just to give you an idea of what we're talking about.
Joe, just so sorry, so you know, sound is not playing, but we can still see the visuals clearly.
So thanks for the invite, Anthony and Peter, for being part of this virtual conference. Sorry I'm having to present the slides like this, but I can't go full screen. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. So in the time that I've got left, to just say that, in fact, Anthony was actually played a very early version of Sleuth IT. And we're pleased to announce that Parklands are our first school partner to actually take on board Sleuth IT. So Sleuth IT is an adventure games for literacy. If you want to think of it as being Sherlock Holmes meets Escape Room meets Cluedo, then you get the right idea. Sleuth IT is basically about engaging students with literacy work, whether it's as a first language or as a second language, through gamification. And as we developed this, we basically had the feedback from teachers that we were onto something that was really interesting, and I'm going to show you some games in just a second. But that also we did a lot of work to provide all the resources to scaffold student work through a student journal, differentiate for their ability. And if you look at the bottom of the screen there, I put a red box around creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. Now, I noticed in the thread of the chat the number of times that critical thinking and thinking skills have already been mentioned. Well, the games are a series. Currently, there are 12 with about a further 6 in production that go from age 6 or 7 all the way through to 18 years of age. If you want to think of sort of murder mystery without the murder, without the bloodshed, without the violence, we've created this series of games that take students on a journey that basically engages them with a narrative through gamification and work that's scaffolded with this type of thing. So we've spent a lot of time putting together really cool visuals because students are working with Xboxes, PlayStations, etc. They encounter interactive widgets, so they'll find combinations, safes, iPhones that need to be cracked, books that need to be unlocked, and together with a sort of really extensive journal, we go beyond just playing games. So with this slide, I'm going to show you one for in real life. Every game has got a journal that's in Book Creator, Keynote, PowerPoint, or Google Suite format that scaffolds the work. A typical journal is about 100+ pages long. So what I'm going to do now is drag in another screen. Peter, I hope you can see this. Otherwise, this is all going to fail. You should be able to just see here extracts from 4 of our games. Can you see that, I hope?
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm going to give you a quick blast of one of our youngest games, and you'll see here, here's a sort of really nice video that introduces the game. Very cutesy graphics. And we get to meet the people involved. Remember, this is for the youngest age range, where we can actually meet the family. And then we can actually go into the crime scene and explore it. And we might meet the family dog. Don't you just love the internet? And if we have a look around, we find some evidence. Wow, a broken plate. Now this is for, you know, quite young children, okay? A bit later on, we'll find a quiz built with book widgets and a lot of scaffolding with this type of thing. So we might actually ask you to, right, so this is football. You see, I'm actually having to listen and then start to engage with the text. Let's go a little bit more complicated, a little bit older. I've still got 1.5.
Just so you know, audio is not playing. So just if audio
Okay.
plays, just let us know.
I'll stay away from the audio then. This is the case of the Mummy's Curse, where we find that there is a panoramic. We have Lord Carlton. He's not even dead. He's being laid low by something that we're not sure about. We find a briefcase that we need to break into or find the combination for, and we'll find literacy assets that will hopefully get us to engage with this. Now, as you're looking at this, I hope you're looking at it and thinking, well, some of this text would be quite difficult for my students. Well, we scaffold that with things like Book Creator, where we can actually go in here and it will actually read the text to you. Now, you may not be able to hear it, but you'll see it highlight on screen. Okay, so the games use a combination of elements, the gamification part, plus this is the journal I was talking about. The journal uses read-to-me functions in Book Creator, Keynote, PowerPoint, Google Suite, etc., and scaffolds the work over about 10 weeks, if you want to do it extensively, throughout the case, and a whole series of projects at the end of the journal, from everything from comic book creation to creating the front page of a newspaper. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to drop out of that, Peter, and hopefully back to you. There we are. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen.
Cool.
There we go.
You got closing 30 seconds.
Okay. So I'm just going to put in the chat there, that little video I couldn't show you. I've just sent you the link to. If you're interested in finding more about it and trying it out with no committal, we offer a hands-on element to actually trying all of this with your staff. Try a suitable game for the age range of your children, but most importantly, it's engagement that is the factor that will spur them on to engaging with text, literacy, and comprehension. And that
Brilliant.
Sleuth It.
Brilliant.
It's exhausting, Peter. 7 minutes. Where's the 50,000?
I've been here all day. Joe, last question, and while we're doing that, I'm going to invite Phil on stage. Joe, where can people get more info? Where must they go? What's the web link?
So I've just put into the chat, and I'll do it again. If you look at the bottom, there's a connection to my Calendly. We call it a coffee chat. Just join for 20 minutes with a coffee. I'll show you the stuff and look at how you can put this together. One important thing, 100% cross-platform. It works on anything in a progressive web app, and no GDPR. We've tried to think of everything. I see that there's been a couple of really nice comments already. Thank you so much, because I've met many of you at Parklands. You'll know that education is something I'm really excited about.
So sadly, we're going to have to cut you there. Your time is up, but brilliant. Thank you so much. The good news is people will be voting if you're their favorite or not. But just if anyone's watching live at the moment, give us a thumbs up if you think you want that. Brilliant. And then thank you, Joe. Next up on stage with me is Phil. I think the great thing is Phil is going to be talking about CoSpaces. And I think Jess pretty much did a sales pitch for you. So,
I'll just sit here for 7 minutes then.
Sit there for 7 minutes. All right. So you're up. You've got 7 minutes. The floor is yours.
Okay, right. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Peter, for the introduction. Yes, so I believe you already have had an introduction to CoSpaces. So what I'm going to do is going through a bit of a whistle-stop tour on how to build a CoSpace. So what it looks like in the process of building it. So I'm just going to share my screen. Done. Nice and big. There we go. So I am logged in as my teacher account, and we have, as you can see, a multitude of spaces that I've used for examples. I've got Egyptians, I've got Mayans, I have got all kinds of things. So I'm going to take you into my demo one, and I've cheated a little bit, and I've built this beforehand, just because 7 minutes is nowhere near enough time to build something. So we're going to go with what we can. So we start off with a blank world, and at any point in time we hit the play button and we can explore that world. It's pretty boring at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose an environment. Now the great thing is we have an entire raft of environments to choose from, everything from under the sea to the moon, and one of my personal favorites is the jungle. So I have a nice clearing, and instantly we've got an entirely different world to our blank space. I always hark back to the holodeck on Star Trek, and when they first walk into the holodeck, there's all those yellow lines and black walls, and then the world melts in. That's kind of how I feel every time I put a new environment into CoSpaces. So we have our environment, and it's great. We can use the W, A, S, and D keys to walk around. We can jump. So you show students this, and they're already they're in because they're in their own world before you've even put anything in. So then I'm going to come back out of that into my build mode, and I'm going to add some creatures to my world. So I'm going to go to my library, and there's an entire raft of models already built into CoSpaces. So we've got lots of different human figures, everything from medieval knights to Santa to the Grinch to vampires to posh kids and regular kids. I think they call it fancy kid and regular kid. So we're going to go to animals, and in the jungle, we will happily find our tiger. We will also find our giraffe, and we're going to find a gorilla. Now, I know giraffes tend to hang around more on plains than jungles, but go with it. So we have our animals. We can resize those animals to make them so if you wanted to be the size of a smaller animal, you can make it so that your animal's bigger. Or if you wanted to be a bigger animal or a bigger presence, you can make them smaller. So within CoSpaces, you've got all these animals, and we're going to jump to the next scene. So we can see we've got our gorilla, our tiger, and our giraffe. I've also then started to add in additional elements. So we've got a lake, pond, watering hole, whatever you want to call it, made up out of simple blue circles. And I'm going to go into the nature, and we're going to start bringing in some additional figures, some additional trees, just to populate this world a little bit more. You can rotate them, them bigger, make them smaller. Now, as the world gets more populated, it becomes easy for you to misclick on a particular item. So what you do is when you right click, you have an entire context menu and you can lock them in place, and that keeps things from being accidentally clicked. That's one of the first things I teach students, because it means, you know, the worst thing that can happen is they move something accidentally and then they follow down that road of trying to correct it. So if you teach them how to lock things in place, that prevents those initial misclicks. And then also teaching them the undo button is also a vital tool I've found as I've been using CoSpaces. So we've added in some more elements. And so now we're going to add in some elements that aren't from CoSpaces, because what you can do is you can go to upload, and you can upload your own images, videos, sound, or 3D models to CoSpaces. Or you can do a web search. Now it searches for 3D models using Google Poly, which I know is currently on its deathbed. But CoSpaces are looking for a way around that, so you'll still be able to import models from various places. The team are working on that. So I'm going to bring in this model of this ruins. I'm just going to bring it up. So if you have a particular model that you wish to use that isn't in CoSpaces, as long as you've got the OBJ of it, you can put it in. I've seen people use handheld 3D scanners to scan students and put students into CoSpaces. We use 3D tools, 3D scanning tools at high impact, and we scan buildings and what have you. We can bring in those doll houses as OBJs into scenes, so you can have pupils interact with real world materials inside their CoSpace. I've got 35 seconds left, so I'm going to whiz down to my final one. And so here we have our final scene where I have added in some sound. I can click on the tiger. He's animated. There's our gorilla swinging, our giraffe having a drink. And if we have a walk around, there's our snake hiding in the ruins. Now I'm going to put the link to this in the chat so that you can explore it in your own time. There we go. And that gives you the chance to explore all those scenes and look at the steps that I've taken and how the complexity increases. Feel free to click on the code and look at the code that's running inside as well. I do believe the coding was mentioned before, which is why I kind of skipped over it. But yeah, I mean, 7 minutes is so hard, Peter, for CoSpaces. I could teach a week on CoSpaces.
Brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to reach out to Phil, Phil actually is a CoSpaces ambassador, but he is actually from High Impact. So if you are looking and need support, please reach out to the team at High Impact. That's hi-impact.co.uk. They have a team of 30 people like Phil that are happy to go out and help schools. So thank you so much, Phil. We really appreciate that. I am now going to invite our last line then picture up, Z from Immersive Experiences, also pretty much in line with VR, AR. All right, and I'm going to knock Phil off. Phil's gone. Okay, so Z, you are up. You've got 7 minutes. Just a reminder, at the end, after Z's gone, we're going to be giving away a whole pile of prizes. So please do wait till the end. So we've got some incredible prizes. But Z, I think I'm going to let you explain what you do, because you do it a lot better than I do. The floor is yours. Thank you. And you have 7 minutes.
No problem. Well, thank you, everybody. My name is Z Denali. I am the CEO of Immersive Experiences and Global Immersive Worldwide. First thing I should say is we do 200 workshops and experiences, so I won't be able to explain all of them in the next 7 minutes or so, but I will try my best to give you a good overview of what we do. So we supply planetariums predominantly worldwide. We're in around about 44 countries, having done 200 plus installations, and the reason why they are award-winning is because we integrate the very technologies that have developed over time, whether it's virtual reality, augmented reality, science museum exhibits, and we integrate that technology within our spectacular domes, which is great because virtual reality, as we all know, is a great learning tool. And we have something called Share the VR, which is slightly different. We can have multiple audiences experiencing it all at the same time. So other than the award-winning workshops, which is predominantly astronomy, but now we have 15 other subjects. They've now been made available worldwide, and of course in various languages too. If I just skip to the languages stage, so we have here, for example, Arabic, Catalan, French, German, Hindi, Italian, Korean, Spanish, Polish, and Russian. So apologies if I missed you there. Last year we came back from Abu Dhabi testing out our Middle Eastern programs, where we were doing programs, for example, Ramadan, and we had the shows in Arabic. And that's very important to us when you're working with schools internationally, that we learn your curriculum and we bring your students into our programs. And of course, now we're bringing it all virtually, which is what I'll be getting onto momentarily. What makes us a little bit different, whenever you buy a planetarium from us or even hire a planetarium, we give you all the programs. They're all included. We don't segment our services. So for example, a school will typically have access to 100 programs immediately. And if you look over the left-hand side, they do cover a variety of subjects. And each program has been developed either by a teacher or a professor, which is research-led. So we have over 10 years of research showing how we've taught 500,000 children around the world. And we have all of that feedback inputted into our company. So we know what works, what doesn't work. Each child is different. Some children will have special needs, there'll be language barriers, and all of the shows are automatically tailored as per your audiences. So what makes us rather unique is our fleet of planetariums. So if you've been to a museum, you may have seen one before. Ours are portable. So we have, for example, here the largest portable dome in the world, which can fit 100 children inside typically. And the team we employ come from all over the world as well. Some are scientists, some are doctors, some are teachers, and they have a great understanding of what children want, because technology may evolve and it's evolving at a very fast pitch, but children, they change sometimes a lot slower than technology will actually allow. So we listen to the children and the teachers, and we ensure that the technology is pitched at the correct level. Won't go too much into our entertainment that we do, but needless to say, we have a huge program of entertainment for Christmas and outdoor events, and this is predominantly for schools that are looking to bring in some revenue. So last year, a lot of schools were temporarily closed, and they needed our support. And the biggest way we supported them was we developed the first open air dome, completely open air, brilliant for ventilation, and they use UV cleaning technology. So this is a great way to engage your students if you work in museums or universities without the worries of a confined space and the environment. So this is arguably one of the best sellers currently in the world. That's just some of our outdoor products we have here, like our outdoor classroom, which is great if you're limited for space. One of our sensory rooms, where we integrate our 360 immersive learning technology with the VR technology as well. So those are a couple of our VR headsets. And what's fantastic about our VR headsets is we often use materials and content from you. So we have obviously 100 items that you can pick that we preload, and it's great for an accessibility point of view. So if you have audiences that may not wish to go inside a dome or something like that, these VR headsets have been tested on children as young as 6 and 7, and they've really enjoyed it. There we have a couple of children there. This was our VR sleigh ride that we did for Christmas, which was quite nice. But here it is, the virtual planetarium. So it's one of the best in the world, and again, it's 15 years in development, so our virtual planetariums are absolutely fantastic. Next week we have a whole suite of shows delivered by our astronomers. I'll share the link later if you want to watch a show with our families. We're also going to give away a free virtual planetarium workshop to a school. So look out for that competition that one of you guys will win. And of course, we're well known for the amount of charity work that we do every year. So every year we will subsidize at least $50,000 worth of school visits around the world. So if you're a school or an educator, you really want one of these domes, do get in touch, because we not only support you with the domes by subsidizing the cost, we also give away physical planetariums as well. So hopefully one of you guys might win one of those as well today. And what's great, of course, is once you have these domes, you can theme them. You don't always have to use it for just the educational applications. You can use it for entertainment as well. Won't go too much into the entertainment, but here we have a school that we helped turn into a bit of a themed night for their ambassadors and their funders. Here we have a school where we had to do outside. We had to use their outside space. So yes, we sell planetariums. Just over 240 now we've sold worldwide, and we teach roughly 500,000 children inside those very domes. I think I'm running out of time a little bit.
Yeah.
In 2020, it was our most challenging year. We did as much as we could to support not only schools. We supplied nearly 1.3 million items of PPE, and I think it's very important for educational organizations to work with others in the industry and work together, because by working together we can open things up safely, and it's safer for everybody. So do get in touch if you have any questions. I will share the links. Ruth here is the international director for our planetariums and school workshops, so you can speak to her as well. I think my time might be almost up.
Your time is up. But that was absolutely, that's actually blown my mind. Like, I want one. It's just like, I want a dome in my garden. It's absolutely incredible.
You can win one.
So what we do have is someone, if I am correct, Z can win a teacher can win a virtual experience. And what we would like to do is, that was our last Lions Den pitch. So I would like to ask, if you go onto the polls and you vote for your favorite Lions Den pitch, you stand a chance to win an experience that Z and his team will put on for you, a virtual experience. So please put that in. I see we're getting some kind of votes coming there already. So please go in and enter. And then Z, thank you so much. We appreciate you being live. If you want to check out Z and his team, please go to immersive-experiences.co.uk. Thank you, Z.
All the best at the conference, guys. Thank you ever so much.
Brilliant. All right, I'm going to invite Anthony back on, but please fill in that poll. The other thing we are going to do now is just a reminder, a big thank you to Snapify. Also, I know they weren't in our Lions Den pitch today, but they are an absolutely incredible product, and we're going to post up just a link right at the end where you can go check out their offering for free. So please, a big thank you to Snapify. Please do support them. Anthony, if you want to jump onto the stage, we're going to give away some prizes. This is always my favorite part of the day.
Hello.
All right. There we go. All right. I also see Joe Moretti from Sleuth has said Sleuth IT, after a quick chat percent, Sleuth IT will offer an additional 25% discount to anyone attending the conference that ends up taking up any Sleuth IT subscription. Thank you. So at the moment, winning the polls is CoSpaces. Not surprised with the amount they want to they've had exposure everywhere. So Anthony, we've got some prizes to give away. What do we have?
Can I give them all away now? This is also my favorite bit. All right then. So let's have a quick look at what we have here. So I've got. Let me just scroll through.
I know we've got 2 jig. Here we go. We've got 2 jigs, and I think you've given me some images to share of the winners. So let me do that quickly. Of the tweets or Facebook posts.
Yes.
Let me just.
So the 2 awards for the JigSpace Premium subscription for a full year. So these are great prizes. I mean, you've seen what it can do from yesterday. This is going to give you a full year all the functionality of the workshop. So you can create anything, and also you can export it to any file type as well. So as you can see in front of you there, yes, you've got Carolina Ramirez. This was one of her tweets. So because our country is experiencing an important social change, I want to use the tools for students to create and visualize their inventions on platforms. And they're going to be inventing solutions of the future of Chile using developing creativity. So if you think about what Marla and Jess were talking about, again, it's problem solving. And this is exactly the kind of message we're trying to get across. So that's magnificent. And then we have the next one. There we go. Thank you very much. So we've got Miss C. Bleakley. So she said, asking students to choose something in Jigspace, learn about what works and the names of its bits and pieces, and write a short descriptive opening story that involves that Jigspace item. So that's cool, because that makes me think this is an English teacher, so it's very close to my heart naturally. But again, using a tool in a very creative, innovative way, and that's what it's all about. So many, many congratulations to you two. Have fun with it, because that I'm very jealous.
Brilliant. And then we just got feedback from the team at Merge, and I saw the person is actually online now. So I am going to give away that big prize, that Merge subscription with the cubes and everything. So a big shout out and thank you to Merge. And the winner is Roxanne Pierce from Interhigh. I know you were online. I hope you are still online. If not, don't worry. We will email you, and the team from Merge will be in contact. So congrats and a big thank you to Merge. And then Anthony, we got some stuff from quizzes to give away.
Yes. So let me just have a look here.
I think we said we've got a t-shirt up for grab and a pro plan.
Yes, you'll have to actually help me for that one. I'm not sure I haven't got that in front of me. Well done, Roxanne.
So big well done to Roxanne. Okay, so what we said is we would choose a comment for today, something or a question that was engaging. So I'm going to ask Anthony to go scroll through the masses to look for something. And then while he's doing that, just a reminder that Flipgrid, we've got flipgrid.com/Schoolscape is still going to be around for a very long time. We want to build it as a tool where teachers can share. And I know we just earlier received a new flip from, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your name correctly, Ricky B from, or Riccè, R-I-K-K-E, from Denmark. So she popped in a response on Flipgrid, and because of that, she just won herself some merchandise from quizzes, which I will send to her. All right, and do you have a winner for us for the pro plan from quizzes?
I think so. Let me just have a quick look. Oh, it's very, very close, this one.
All right, while he's doing that, I'm just going to post our last poll today, which is just, would you attend another Schoolscape event? So let us know, please. It's in the polls. This is good feedback. Please be brutally honest. All right, Anthony, have you got a winner?
I do indeed. It's actually a great plan. This is a really clever one. So this individual I actually know uses beside the tweeting message. I know this chap is going to do very, very well with it in terms of innovating, because it's across. It's not just within the classroom; it's actually outside the classroom. It's Brad Roots is going to win this one. Brad Roots, congratulations, Brad. Well done to you.
So Brad is just won himself a super plan for quizzes.
Plan.
And Anthony, why did he win?
Excuse me?
Well, why did he win?
Because he wasn't just, what did he win or why did he win?
Why?
Why? Well, because it wasn't just the messages that he was writing in the Twitter feed. It's actually he was barraging us all and quizzes themselves with the innovations and the ideas he wants to employ. That actually was quite overwhelming from both sides.
Brilliant. Well, well done. We love people that engage. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is us coming to an end. We really appreciate you coming to Schoolscape UK. We know we've got teachers from around the world. So once again, a big thank you to Snapify for making today happen. So we're going to post up now just the link for Snaplify, for Engage. Please register for free. And then just a personal thank you. We understand the pressure schools have been under with COVID around the world, and we know we've got teachers from around the world. We hope that over the last 2 days, we've given you some tips, tricks, tools, just things to help you engage your learners. And we really appreciate the efforts you put in. I don't think as a teacher or a head teacher or an IT manager, you get many thank yous. But this is just a thank you from our side. We value what you do. We value the input. I wish I had more teachers like you, especially with what has been shared today. So from our side, thank you for everything you do, and we hope this event has been a blessing for you. And any last comments?
Keep playing. Find the tools, play with them, and you're going to have such fun. That's all.
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, that is us over and out, and we will see you at the next Schoolscape, which I think will be a global event. It won't be Schoolscape UK, it will be Schoolscape International or Global. Thank you, everybody.